What is going on, everyone, and welcome in. Happy Wednesday morning. Let's get out of this guy right here. Let's pull up what's going on. So we're going to be talking about Robinhood today. We'll be watching this guy. 55 seems to be a key level on Robinhood stock. I'm personally, we'll see if I want to trade it. Ultimately, I am actually just locking in some, oh my, Nvax. I had locked this in before I got on the screen because I was just, didn't want to be in a trade while I was about to sign in. And I had gotten it at 196, just 50 shares. And I sold 25 shares at 200, and I sold the rest at 203, and I got on the stream. Now it's at 212. Whew. It was literally within like a minute and a half, it was a $215 gain, like on 50 shares. So that was my little trade there. So I've already hit my daily goal, $250 roughly for day trades. I've already hit that on BYSI, which could have been a lot bigger, I'll tell you that. I traded this one short initially, almost got screwed, stopped out pretty much break even. And then I got in long as I started to see it curling up off of VWAP here. I got in, and next thing you know, the thing was 30 plus, and I had locked in gains, 23, 27, 31. And then I was pretty much out, but then I kept going. So I'm not going to complain. One sec. I'm not going to complain with those gains by any means. Okay, so we'll be watching BYSI. I mean, this is nuts. We'll talk about this one. We'll talk about this one for sure, because this guy, I just dropped a video on the Stock Trends channel talking about it. August market, right? Nothing's up. The biggest gainer before BYSI is WHLR, which is 26%. Outside of that, EXPI 18, like there's nothing. There's nothing like making big runs. This thing drops news. It was halted initially. The news comes out, unhalts, boom, the thing goes nuts. It was up 100% in 3 minutes. And then it was up 200% in like 20 minutes. Like it went nuts. Lower float stock, not a super low float. It's like a 10 million, 11 million float. And they had good, cancer news, lung cancer news. So it went nuts. I mean, you can't, that's what happened. Outside of this, though, here's a nice downtrend. I think it's pretty clear to see here. Let's take a look. Yeah, look at that. There's your downtrend. That breaks. I mean, let's wait till the market opens and see what happens. But if that breaks, you could certainly see some good upside. Who knows? Continuation today. That's where a lot of traders are going to be focused. We'll see how it pans out. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with that, to be honest with you guys. I'm just going to let that one do its thing and leave it alone. But Nvax is nuts. They just got news. I just saw, let me pull it up on the side. It was EU approves contract for COVID-19 vaccine with Novavax. There you go. I mean, hot topic right now for sure, especially with cases, I guess, popping back up, right? So that's what's been going on there. Outside of that, Affirm. I did buy some Affirm. Now the market's a little red, so I got into the swing. I have some sells set, but I'm looking for a bigger move here. I'm looking for the $70 breakout. So I started to swing trade some large caps here, the past couple of weeks, because small caps weren't really, the swings aren't. You got to be very selective, and I'm selective in what I have. And I'm fine with it. So I'm looking at my VISL, my WWR, my ELYS. I mean, NVOS. I mean, those are my swings. I'm just chilling on them. I think give it 6 months, they're gonna they're all gonna have good runs. I'm just being patient with those. But outside of those, I'm not trying to tie up too much capital in those. So less than half my portfolio is tied up in small cap swings, and they're I have conviction on those. They're not just random technical plays. They're my plays that I like. And then a little more than technicals. And then, although that does play a pretty big role, too, at least how I trade stuff. And then outside of that, I've been doing some swings on other stuff. So I have, if you can see on the left-hand side, I have started to buy some calls. This is actually a sold put on SoFi. I've been selling 1450 puts on this bad boy. So if SoFi ends up going down below like 1450, I'll take the shares. For the long haul, to be honest, this is actually going to make a longer swing. It took a pretty decent dive yesterday. It's up so far in pre-market. Maybe it dropped today. Market's red. I don't know. But I have an average right here at 1551, and my next buys will be below 15. So I would like to have a nice position in SoFi ultimately. But if it does fall below 1450, wouldn't be ideal. If it holds below that level, it could, as much as you might like a stock long-term, short-term, right, you can see more downside. So it's up to you how you want to play that. Personally, for me, this is the one where, depending upon how, things play out, and if other things get super hot, I may, get rid of this one in here. Either just put it in the IRA only, put it in a different account, and not worry about not look at it. Sometimes just looking at something like that is annoying, and I don't want to be tying up capital in something that's going to take too long. Right now, I'm fine with it, but I also don't have a huge position just yet. So I'm looking to build that one out under $15. Ideally, that's a plan. That's a plan, though. We'll see. Outside of that, let's see. Nvax, this is going nuts. Where is it? It's pulling up. It's getting up there on the top gainers, and this is a large cap too. I'm kind of surprised how it's doing. I'm not surprised though at the end of the day with that news, because if you take a look at our bad boy mRNA, this thing is nuts. Look at yesterday on Moderna, right? Held that 340-ish area, which I had a line there. It was a key area in the past couple of weeks. Pushed almost to 400. So my idea here is a short with the 400 being your area to respect. As if it breaks over that level, I wouldn't mess with it. But I didn't do it. Obviously, I'm not in it right now. You guys can see there's no position on the screen, so I don't have a position, and it started to fall off here so far in pre-market. It is what it is. I was, thinking about it this morning, but I was like, yeah, let's wait for the market to open and we'll see what happens, because this is a stock that sometimes market opens and that direction is like straight up or straight down for the first like 5-10 minutes, and then after that you can get a better entry or a better gauge for what's going on. So that's why I waited on that one personally. But let's say TKT. Let's take a look at this guy. TCAT. We had some news on BBIG, had some NFT news. TKT popped to 923 2 days ago, but it's starting to fall back off. This is a stock that, ultimately, right, this could drop more if it does fall below this like $7, 685. 675. I wouldn't be a fan. I wouldn't be surprised if it falls, but if it firms up here and holds $7, the more it firms up and the more it holds this level, the more you would kind of like it for under pop. It's been one of those stocks that takes, that has those types of, pops pretty consistently the past couple of days at least. We kind of get a sense for rough trend. Yeah, so it could come down just below 7 again, and then you would hope to see that it, wouldn't say hope, but you want to see it bounce there if you're long. Shorts may want to take it down further, especially if the market does kind of get weak. That's the only concern with this one. The market gets weak, it could be, right back into the 5s, before you know it. And that's the only downside. So, roughly, if you're looking at a larger picture swing, yeah, down here, you're looking at like $1 or so risk, $1.50 risk down towards the lows, and you'd have a stop loss under 575 if it, for a swing trade, and that's it, But short term, we'll see if it holds the 7s and the upper 6s. It could be a nice little, short term move, especially if NFTs get, their pop or two, which they have been kind of notorious for, like having a day or two, pulling back 1 or 2 days. Everyone kind of forgets, and then they come back, and it's like, okay, NFTs again. So we will see. Outside of this, I have some other alerts set for shorts. This market's red today, so I'm looking at the short side, and ultimately, generally speaking, across a lot of small caps, I'd rather be going short on day trades than long. Right now, personally, swing trades, I like to be long. That's just my strategy, buying low, waiting for the news, waiting for the catalyst. But short term for the day trades, I generally just like, it's easier for me to identify short opportunities. XBIO was one that I had yesterday, a really nice short yesterday, from 450-ish all the way down, sub 4, really nice. I didn't get enough size on it, but that was a nice one. So I'm looking for XBIO. If it makes a pop up towards 4 again, then I would, be interested in maybe taking it. But right now, I'm not really interested. It could have dropped to $3 today. Yeah, sure it could. But I'm not gonna. I'd rather want to see a pop get rejected at 4 maybe, and then enter with a stop loss at 4 or just above 4. And then that makes the trade a lot easier. Right now, risk-reward profile isn't great. Ultimately, I'll look at the daily chart. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Risk-reward, it could come right back down. This thing could be down to 3, down to 250 in no time. It's at 372. Yeah, but I don't want to mess with it, to be honest, until I get a better entry. So there's that. That's an idea. Xcla is another one that I'm watching as well. This one has been kind of sneakily kind of just grinding up past couple of days, but it seems like we may have hit a point. 350s area seems to be an area that it just kind of hit up to, and it got rejected in the low 350s. So I'm curious, in the market, with the market being a little red today, small caps down about just under 1%. Russell, at least as before the market's going to open. I'm curious to see if XCLA wants to to push up or wants to kind of, have a decent pullback day, which it could come back down to like $3, which could be some decent downside potentially. So we'll see. Those are two that I'm watching possibly for shorts if they pop at the open or like right after the open. And then Robinhood. Take a look at Robinhood. Now, you probably can't short this thing on, well, you can't short it on Webull. There's no options available, I believe, as of right now. And so this thing has got 55 is the key area. 55 is a key level. Over 55, yeah, this can go to $60, I think, fairly easily. But in the near term, let's see how it holds up. Let's see if it holds up this area right here. It's kind of a key level that we're at right now. If we just draw a trend line in here from this morning, yeah, it's pretty key. Area that we hit up to at, what was this, last night before the, or this morning? I think this morning at 4 a.m. or last night. There was resistance from last night, okay? Before the market closed is 52.30. Pulled back this morning early in pre and kind of grinded up. We hit 7 a.m., boom, popped on up, and now it's holding that 52.30. So 52.30 seems like a key level. I'll extend that out on the chart a little bit more. Oops. So that we can kind of see that guy today. Yeah, as long as it holds that, it seems like it's fairly bullish. And then the next level is 55. So here's your range between 55 and about 52.30. In that $2.50 range, I'm not a big fan of in between. I'd be more of a fan of going long here and then even going short here. Ideally, we can't short on Webull though. Other brokers you can, but people also ask if you are looking to go short on stocks or whatever, and you're like, I can't get, there's no availability. It's like, well, then just get a better broker. Like go to like Trade Zero, go to like a different broker, and you'll have better availability. So sometimes people have brokers for shorts and then broker for longs, broker for swings. Everyone has a different style, but personally I don't have Trade Zero, but that's the next one I want to try out. So that's my next target, I guess, brokerage account coming, at some point. I want to test it out soon. We'll see. Option plays, yeah, well, I have some on the left-hand side. So personally, right, I like the airline plays. So I'm buying the airlines. So like JetBlue, Robinhood's pushing up as we speak right now. It's just like rocketing. JetBlue, no, these are not short-term option plays. These are longer-term. I'm buying in the money calls. I'm ideally looking to see JetBlue holding up around 14. If it doesn't, I'll buy more lower. I literally don't care. But I'm looking to buy January's of 2022 and then January's of 2023. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous. It's super far out. Yes, I understand that. But I'm buying those and I feel fairly decent about that because we had a really good recovery on airlines and then Delta variant news. And then that has been like the narrative the past couple of months. And look at this, just absolute sustained sell-off. I think we're going to get at least a bounce. My target on JetBlue is 18 or more in the next 6 to 12 months. Honestly, I'm giving myself plenty of time. That's just one thing I'm kind of stashing away. I honestly don't even have to put it in this account. I mean, I am because, I want to, but I wouldn't worry too much about these. I'm stashing away, I'm waiting for a really big red day in the market to buy more because I have a decent position, but I want to buy, I want to double that down really, ideally. So I'm looking for a really red day in the market, more fears, cases going up even more. And then boom, I'll buy more, buy the fear, and then look to, profit in 6 to 12 months, ideally. If it happens sooner, I'll make a lot more, right? If the airlines recover in the next 3 months, I'm going to make a ton compared to what, if they recover to my targets in the next year, right? That's that. But Affirm, AFRM I have just shares. But over 70, this is a breakout. So $70 is the breakout point. You want to see this thing getting over 70 and then holding over 70. Because look back to the left. This is a key area. They had just news that Apple's partnering with them, which is pretty big. And Affirm is essentially the buy now, pay later type of setup where you can pay it over a course of X number of months. That's their whole platform. Based on Square and what Square's got going on and their deals and whatever, I think this is undervalued personally, which is why I have a position here. But over $70, I think you get a quick move to 75, and then after that, you can possibly make a move to 80. So I think we can see that pretty quick. But I have some sells just on the way up, like I like to do. So we'll see if we get it. I took a position, honestly, a little early. I probably could have waited for the breakout here, but I took a position a little bit early. I'm willing to take the risk on this one. So we'll see what happens today at the market opens. But over $70, I like this one a lot. Just be careful though if the market is red, or this thing can easily dump right back down, and next thing you know, it's at $60 again. and it's back at the trend line, which would be a really, a better idea, I would think, closer to the trend line for a really good swing position, which if I was a little bit earlier, I would have had a better opportunity there. But I still think with that news yesterday, I think we have the fuel to get us to that 70 break as long as the market doesn't tank today. If the market's like slight green, slight red, it's slight red. It's like a little bit red right now. It's fine. If the market goes like massive red, then yeah, this is not going to work out today. Maybe it works out in the next couple of days, but it's not going to happen today. So depends on your time frame on that one. But generally speaking, I'm not a huge options, trader, but I've been dabbling a little bit more here and there. I prefer the shares. I prefer if I'm going to trade something like that, like even Tesla. Like I could have traded Tesla options a couple days ago when I traded Tesla on the 700 break. Because it broke over 700, and I was like, okay, this is my favorite play of the week, right? Of Monday, and it broke over 700, and I got in pre-market. So I could have I could have waited till the market opened and could have got it in pretty much the same price on options, but who knows how inflated they would have been and whatnot. And then it went from 700 to 725, so it made a nice move. That happened to be, 4%. For me, 4%, I can play a decent amount of shares, and 4%, on my shares that I played was a couple $100. So that's fine with me. You could have made a lot more in options, but then of course you're risking a lot more. So it depends on how you kind of see your, risk tolerance and whatnot. Personally, for me, I'd rather stick with stocks that I see decent range, a couple percent per day type of range, and then just play the shares. Like for example, mRNA. People are talking about, puts. And, I've been talking back and forth. I've seen some comments, and, we've been talking about this one for a couple of weeks now. But mRNA, right, is a stock that, I don't need to play puts. I just play shares. I mean, this thing so far in pre-market, from the highs is already hit down 3%. Like this thing has a range. 3% is pretty, in a short period of time is pretty good, pretty quick, right? So let's see how things shape up today, and then we'll go from there. So BYSI has pulled back quite a bit off of where it hit, but let's change the scanner on the right-hand side to the 1 day, and then we should be good to go. Look at this, mRNA, right? So look at this. Now it's pushing on up. I would be interested to see. Did you wait to 25K in order to avoid PT? Yeah, so this account, if you go back on this channel like 2 years now, probably, you will literally see the entire growth of this account. So I started with a couple $100, and then I slowly kind of added money. I also made gains, and I slowly grew the account from there with mostly swing trading, small caps. That was mostly how I did it. And then eventually I hit over PDT, and then that's where I've been day trading more with now because of that. Now, so that's why you could go a couple different ways. Look at that, Moderna. We're just watching this guy here so far. You can go a couple different ways. I see it. You can have like separate accounts, so like a day trade account. You can have a swing trade account. I personally don't like do that right now. Maybe at some point in the future. I have other accounts. I have an IRA, and I have a separate account. I actually have a couple that I have some money in, spread across some other random accounts and whatever. But they're quite small, and so one of them is like just like a couple swings that I like that I just don't want to look at, and I just forget about it, and it's there. But most of the time I do like a lot of my shorter term swings, a lot of my swings, even some long term swings, like the airline swings are long term swings. I do that all on just one account because you're over PDT. So it's like if I take money out of here, then I have less buying power. Then I run the risk of going back under PDT. Because if you're like at $44,000, right? Yeah, like I want to make sure that I'm decently above PDT to have a cushion. So in case you have a bad week or something, you don't go back below. And so, I'd rather keep it all here. Ideally, at some point, I would kind of make multiple accounts, or have, a more substantial amount of money in different accounts. But, that's for another time. Okay, Affirm. I'm curious to see how this one does. We will see. This is getting interesting if it gets back up here. See, we have some significant resistance up around the 69.93. We got up there in after hours yesterday, 69.70s. We got close, but we got to break it through. So I would like to see Affirm making a run. The problem is the market is a little bit red. So if the market stays red, this is going to hold it back. If the market doesn't dive down, doesn't go down much more than where it's at right now, this one could be a really good play for today's. It could be the breakout today. We'll see. Maybe not. Yeah, but my positions are on the left-hand side. Some of these are in my IRA. PLTR is in my IRA, by the way. It just shows up all in one spot on Webull. That's that. LABD, this is kind of like a hedge. This is the Bear 3X ETF for biotech. Okay, so I'm kind of playing the chart here and a hedge almost, right? If the market goes down, one of the first sectors that gets hit hardest is biotech. Like, this gets killed. But if the market kind of goes up, I have my swings and stuff. So this is kind of one that I'm looking to see. As long as it holds up in the low 20s, I'm fine. But I'm looking for a $25 to ideally $30 target, and then 30 plus, we could get a little bit of a little pop there. So I'll be watching this one. That's just kind of a swing that I have. Almost a hedge, but also kind of like not necessarily like a perfect hedge in a sense. Outside of that, I trimmed my position down on CEI. I have just 1,000 shares left, and I'm just going to kind of let that one do its thing, just so I'm familiar with it. I'm watching it, and then come like next month, if it's still sitting under 50 cents, I'll start buying, a little more, adding to that position, making it, ideally a lot larger. Okay, look at this. I got filled on my WHLR short. I took a short at 443. I got filled on that. That's immediately filled. And hit. I'm going to let this one ride out, though. I have a couple other sells set to go short. This is like just a pure pump play. So I'm just chilling on this one. I'm going to like log this one down that I'm in it. Because this is what I do for all my day trades. I'm a pen and paper kind of guy, to be honest. I have logs on whatever the other places that I put my logs, and then I have them online and whatever, and so I can go to them and see them and type things in, and it's easier. But I also like to kind of go back through like a little journal kind of thing and be able to look back through my trades and stuff when I want to. So it's gonna be fun to kind of look back on this stuff. And I have a big video planned. I day traded for 100 days, and I'll talk about my results, things I learned, all that stuff, because I'm primarily someone who swing trades, right? For the past 2 plus years, I've been just swing trading. It's fair, I've done pretty good, but lately, after the crazy run we had through a lot of stocks, swing trading got a lot harder, at least in stuff that I generally like to trade. So I kind of have to change, adapt, adapt or die, right? So in the process of kind of adding into my day trade experience, if that makes sense. So we're in that guy. Anything else? I'm curious what Xcla is doing. Okay, it popped. That was interesting. So that would have been a good one too, to have a short up around that area. But look, it got rejected right at the pre-market high, 354. So if this one gets back up there into the 350 area, I would be interested in taking a short potentially, maybe, and then with a stop loss over that high, and then possibly, if this wants to do its thing, it could go higher. We'll see. XBIO is another one that I also was looking at earlier. Let's see how it's doing. Yeah, it didn't really do anything. I have an alert set. If this thing gets over 380, then I'd be interested potentially. So we'll see about that. But yeah, outside of that, it's pretty chill. LABD pulling back, of course, my hedge, right? It is what it is. I'm looking to be in this one through August, ideally, unless, it probably, if it doesn't hold the trend or it falls below, let's say 22, I might just get out of it, take a couple $100 loss and be like, move on. Of course, at that point, it'll go, 40 plus. That's just the nature of how it works, right? Okay, so market's actually coming back a little bit. Tech has gone green. The Nasdaq's gone slightly green. So let's take a look at a firm. And I'm seeing, okay, here we go. It's trying. It needs to get back up over like 68. Gets over 68. We could be, making a move here pretty quick. So that's one to watch. I think the 70 break could be really nice and explosive. I don't want to say that in a stupid way, but it could be. 70 could go to 75 in a matter of an hour. It's possible. Semi. Let's take a look at semi. Semi is kind of pulling back a little bit. It's technically up because of yesterday's after hours, right? But it's pulling back a little bit. I could see this thing falling off further, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it right now, unless we kind of get more action, more time in today to get a better feel for where it's holding up and whatnot. But I'm not a huge fan. Just off the top. Biotech is hot. Forward to healthcare coming years. Yeah, it's funny because I love when bios are super hot, especially like the small caps. Oh my, it's so much fun. Last year and into the fall, it was insane. I mean, also a lot of small caps in general, right? But bios we're killing it too. Those are fun times. Look at this WHLR. Here's an example of, we'll see how this one. I'm gonna let this one work today, but here's an example, right, of me kind of looking at levels and saying, yep, 450. I like that area as a short. I even set some more shorts, ideally higher, and saying, yeah, I have a stop loss over $5. If it breaks over 5 and really kind of holds, I would get out. But I'll set some sells along the way, and it's kind of a passive. Now it's under 4. This one, look at the chart. Look at the daily chart on this thing. This thing could be back to like 350 today, and no one would even blink an eye. It's like literally with 100 shares, like this could be like almost $100 profit play with just 100 shares. So we'll see. I'm going to let it do its thing. 375 could be an area to watch, but if it falls below that, it's probably going to 350 if I had to guess. So we'll see. Or maybe this is a fake out and it rips. I don't know. But I could put a stop loss on it, but I also probably am not going to. I'm going to let it do its thing for right now. It's small enough that I really don't care. Yeah, firm. I'm waiting on this to make its move, but I think it's going to be it's going to kind of tease us for a little bit, I think, and it's going to be more of a patience play. So I got to also think with the large caps too, is that you got to also take a step back. I'm used to small caps, but you kind of take a step back and say sometimes, breakouts are not going to be as fast as small caps. Like you see some breakouts on small caps like BYSI this morning. When this thing broke above the high of like 24, this thing went to 30 in like a second, right? So that's nuts. That's just not going to happen in large caps for the most part. It would be fun, but it's just not going to happen. Larger floats and whatnot. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Moderna. We could take a shot. Look at this absolute just rocket from 377. Like this is what I'm saying. You don't even need to play options on Moderna. You can just play shares. Like you have the volatility is there to play shares. 5% move in the past like 5 minutes. I could take a shot at this thing on the short side and put a stop loss over $400. There's a risk, but I kind of like the idea. Let's see. I'll do it right now. Let's do 10. I'm gonna just do a market for 10, and that's it. I'm not gonna go anything crazy here. And then I'm going to literally immediately put a stop at the 400. Like 03. 403 cents, making sure that is the stop loss. Boom. And then now I'm already in the green, but what I'm going to do is if I'll watch this one and eventually if it comes down to like the lower 390s, I'll move my stop to, just under like my average. And then it's a free trade. And then, I can let it do its thing. But my idea here is playing the 400. It's probably going to be resistance. It's the first time it's coming up to $400. So it's probably going to be an area of resistance, psychological level. We were talking about the 300 break a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, not even. Like now we're talking 400. This is insane. But, I don't want to fight it. But at the same time, after this kind of, straight up move, there could be a couple like we can get a pullback to VWAP, which would be a beautiful trade. 10 shares times $10, it's $100, right? If we get a 2% move. It's not that, I'm not nothing crazy because I've already hit the goal for the day, so I'm not going to try to lose it, but I like the idea. Meanwhile, firm is pushing up over the 68, so that's kind of inching its way on up here. Yeah, we'll see. Markets actually, NASDAQ's a little bit more green. SPY, Dow's down like 0.5%. SPY's down like just above 0.25%, so not that bad. A lot of green on the list, at least my position wise, for now, but we'll see. WTLR got halted up, so that would have been a better idea to take that cover there. It is what it is. I have some sells that I have ready to go though, so I kind of like this one, and it's a cheap one to borrow from what I saw. 7%. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I do think would like to get a bigger position if I could. So we'll watch that guy. Let's see. Moderna. I've had good and bad. I've had good and bad with Moderna. I had a massive trade. Like just shares, it was like relative to the account size, it was like $700 on a dump a couple weeks ago, and I think I'll pull it up. Let's see if I can find it. It was this day right here. Yeah, it was the 20th. I was in it. I had like a 338 average short. Next thing I know, the thing was sub 300. I'm like, what? I was scaling out along the way, but that was a massive play. Outside of that, I've tried to fight it a couple times, long and short, and I've, screwed myself, each time. So it's been a tough one to fight. I don't want to be fighting it, but as long as you have your risk in place. Like for example, right here, I'm gonna risk like less than $5, and ideally, I'm looking for we're talking about at least a $5 gain here. I'm just gonna play it with moving my stop down at some point here though. Under, like, let's see if we can fall under 390, then I move my stop, down to probably like 393, something like that, and we'll let it do its thing. Robinhood, by the way, too. Let's take a look at this. How is this doing? Oh my gosh! Oh my god! 77, and it's halted. This is absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Oh my gosh. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought, okay, 55, $60, The thing went and said, screw 55, screw 60, screw 75. Let's go to 77. Now it's probably going to go to $100 if I had to guess. But I think now what you have is this is a scary time, I think, for Robinhood in terms of if you're getting in now, because now, right, everybody who was short, not short, but a lot of people who had the negative, like, screw Robinhood, this, who's buying this thing? You should short this stock. Okay, great. By the way, I'm going to get my Moderna stop in place because this thing just dumped. So let me put my stop loss here at the 93, and we'll let it do its thing. Okay, this is actually a pretty big trade right now. It's dumping pretty hard, so this might work out really nice. But the hood, right, Robinhood. So everyone's like, yeah, like, okay, this thing is going to go to zero, not zero, but this thing shouldn't be, no one's going to buy this. They, suspended trading. Why would you buy this thing? Robinhood, screw them. For the kind of the narrative of people in the trading community, right? That's not like a good representation of everybody, number one. But number two, right, when you see the sentiment one way, make sure you're taking a peek this way. This is someone I know actually someone who is in massive or who has been in massive on Robinhood must have made just ridiculous amounts of money today because of this. Absolutely insane. Just insane. But there you go. But now what's happening is that everyone who is like, okay, well, you know what? I can't short it. There's no options, or my Moderna failed it. Stop me out. Whatever. Okay, whatever. There's no options. I can't short it. My broker doesn't let me short it, so I might as well get long. And now that's what you're seeing today, I think. You're seeing that today. Okay, and they get long. And this is where it starts to get a little bit, okay, now here's where you can someone's going to get burned pretty bad. So I would be cautious. If you're going to trade it, be careful, be quick. Day trade it, but, at this point, you're going to look back at this thing and say, okay, like, it's going to slow down. Like, for example, look at a lot of other IPOs like Dash. Okay, Dash had a pullback, went crazy. Give it a couple weeks, let it kind of find its value a little bit, and then there's opportunity there. Like, for example, Dash, you could have got this thing sub 150 and someone paid $250 for it, right? Someone paid over 250. You could have got it sub 150 like 2 months later. So just be, that's how I see Robinhood. Just give it, be a little careful on that. There's no need to just jump on it. Meanwhile, look at a firm. It's building itself up. I like this play. Let's get over this. Okay, this is starting to make a move here. 69 and then 70. 70 is going to be key. I think it's over 70. I mean, I'm going to scale out along the way, but over 70, you got some, you're going to have resistance pretty strong, but if it gets over that level, it probably makes a pretty quick pop. And then the question will be, does it hold? If it can't hold, it could be a fake out, great, and it comes back down, and then whatever. Or, we get a bigger move. Let's see. WHLR, man, this is probably going to hit some more of my areas. I really would like it to get up towards 5. I would like to get a bigger position up towards 5, but it's kind of like I'm going to let this one work, to be honest, and just I'm not really risking too much. And, I'm going to let it do its thing. Ideally, don't want to really see it getting above 5 and holding above 5, but I'm going to let this one do its thing in terms of giving it enough breathing room and time. 375 area would be the first kind of target, I guess, if I had a bigger position here. But if I get filled at one of these next cells, 75 and then up towards 5, then yeah, I'll take profits. But I want to kind of have a decent position there, and it is what it is. Affirm, we got SoFi is up 5% today. Look at SoFi just straight up. SoFi has been one that honestly, if I've been scalping it, it could be nice buying it down here sub like 15.25. You had opportunities past couple of weeks multiple times and selling it over 16. It needs to get up over 16 like 25 area. That's key on SoFi. So another 25 cents, and this thing can make a pretty big run. But we'll see. I sold a call yesterday, so I got paid $15 essentially to be forced to buy SoFi if it was under $14.50 by the end of the week, which it's probably not going to be at this base unless something crazy happens. But it's free money, I guess. Is how I see it. $15. I go to lunch. I need to start doing that more. I need to start actually paying myself from the account, but because it would be kind of, I think at that point I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like walking around and I was like, then it would be more fun because then you're like, okay, well, then you can start to actually see, a trade, but like, oh, it's actually paid for this. Like, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I'm going to go back to Moderna. What's Moderna doing? So I locked in gains. I put this, oh man, I put the stop on that one. So I made a couple bucks per share on it. And then it hit the stop. Of course, I had the stop set to like 393. Meanwhile, it hits 393.25, then it falls off. So I could have had the stop a little bit higher, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Now it's holding VWAP, but that would have been a good target on Moderna, right? From here down towards VWAP, and you pretty much got it. Pretty nice. But, I'm not gonna complain with the green trade, right? So I'll go over the other ones too. I want to look at Nvax. Those are the two trades too this morning. That one, NVAX, is it on the list? Is it still on the gainers list, or did it fall off? No, it's actually still holding up decently. So I grabbed it. The news came out, Euro partnership, COVID vaccine, something like that. I don't even know. There were some pretty big keywords in there, and I was like, this is good. And then sometimes it doesn't need to be crazy. You can just see what's going on. You look at Moderna, you look at Pfizer. I see that. I'm like, yeah, Nvax is going to make a pretty big run. It's up only 11%, but for a large cap, it's pretty good. I grabbed it at 196, so I actually grabbed this pullback, this red candle right here. I had an order set, it filled me on this pullback, immediately sold half of my shares at 200, and then the rest at 203. Look up in here, because then I was setting up the live. So I could have wrote a little bit more, but I wanted to kind of get out. It was already a nice trade. It was $200 and like $215 on the shares that I had, which wasn't much, in a matter of like a minute and a half. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. And then that was that. But that was a fun one. So it's kind of like just reading the headline, seeing the headline pop up and going, yep, that's it. Okay, here it is. Affirm, grinding. The breakout, man, it's going to be, we're getting close. We're like less than $1 off from that breakout zone. So we'll see. So markets actually come back a little bit. It was more red, at least SPY and the Dow were more red a couple half hour ago. Well, market's not even open for that long, but it's, pre-market they were down a little bit too. So they're kind of grinding back on up. NASDAQ is slightly green. So, it is what it is. Let's take a look at SPY though. I'm curious to see how this has been holding up. SPY's actually pushing right now as we speak. But I kind of like what's going on, to be honest. I mean, we're in a consolidate where there's kind of like chop fest the past couple of weeks. Yeah, I would love to see could we see a pullback? Would I like to see a pullback? Yeah, but also I kind of don't want to see those. I do like them for, opportunities to buy stuff, but if we just kind of see like a choppiness and like just it kind of just does its thing for the next couple of weeks, months, like I would be down with that too. If like a SPY was in a range from like 450 to like 425 for the next like 3 months, like that would be kind of nice, not as crazy volatility. Like it's not that like, oh my gosh, this is happening. For some people, they don't like that. I kind of would. I think that would get attention back on small caps going into the fall, I think. If everything kind of large cap wise slows down, and then it's like, well, now what? Small caps. XBIO just popped on my radar here really quick. I do want to point this one out. This could be an idea with a $4 area as a stop loss for a short. Market pushing up, though, a little bit, so we'll see. But that is that idea potentially. We'll see. Okay. Sell all option for Webull. I think you have to manually put the number in. There, you can set up in the settings. You can set up hotkeys, and there you can set up a hotkey to sell all of your position technically. But I think you have to enter the share size in. Now you can also have presets. So for like, I click on the order type or quantity. When I go into quantity, I can have presets of amounts that I've personally gone in the settings and set. But I don't think there's like a sell all. I don't think I've ever seen a sell all button. Similar to like Robinhood. Yeah, like I know I've seen that on Robinhood. VISL, they're at the Olympics. I saw some stuff on social media. They're at the Olympics. All sorts. Yeah, but here's the thing. This is in my opinion, right? Okay, a firm just hit 70. Okay, a firm broke 70. There it is. Let's see what happens now. This could go for a run. But VISL, we're in just the small cap summer market. We're in August. I think that you kind of have all that stuff weighing on it where it's like it's August, small caps are dead, and it's like boring. All right. Unfortunately, that's what it is. So in my opinion, right, I think VISL is a stock that you could be looking at legitimately 50 to 100% returns in the next 6 months at some point. If you just accumulate, you're accumulating here under 250, I think that's a really good spot personally. But, we'll see what happens. Ultimately, I'm not saying buy the stock, but that's just my plans, what I'm doing. Same with ELYS. I think ELYS is significantly undervalued still. Okay, still under 4, even more so. But I think it's still significantly undervalued, but I don't think we're going to see a move. Look what happened if you go back to last year, right? August, September, right? Nothing was going on. And then really it took till December for a lot of these stocks to pop. So I'm looking for a similar idea. If you go back to VISL's chart, what did it do last year? Look at August. It went down September, October. It was just boring. Nothing happened until we got into, the end of December. And then it really took off. So I'm going to be, I'm not going to be, I'm going to say cautious, but I'm being, giving it time. I'm literally just going to be accumulating my shares. I have room to add a little bit more, but for right now, for the summer, I'm kind of just letting them do their thing. And, that's it on my small cap swings. That's why I trimmed them down. WWR, where's that one? I trimmed it down a good bit. I took some profits when it popped to 560 on that pop a couple months ago or about a month ago. And I trimmed it back down. I like it right here. I'm just personally not going to buy it at the support right now because we could see a further weakness and a bigger drop. And then at that point, boom. Then I'm thinking fundamentally undervalued for the long term, or for the next, couple of years. I like to play, boom, This has a correlation to the EVs. So with their mining. And so, mining rare earths, AREC, this is one that I was in. I swung this one back in here. I was on the 200 SMA back in like May, right? Popped up to 4+, took profits. Great. I don't think I got back in. I never did. It's on my watch list, but I never got back in because I just, right now we're into August. I just no need to be in a million small caps. So it's definitely one of those plays that rare earth, that's not going anywhere in my opinion. Right. So this is one that let it come back down a little further and then they can, buy a little more. So that's how I see the small caps right now. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. But, I've been through it 2 years now, 2 summers more intensely washing the small caps and seeing kind of like, okay, here's how they handled themselves the past, in this time of year. Let's not be stupid and try to like have massive swing positions going into the August and then, let it, lose all of it. Like, no, like I'm not going to do that. So that's why I've been kind of transitioning to swinging some large caps, getting in the airline action, doing my thing on those guys, setting up for, having some stuff in the background that's going to hopefully work for me and also taking some more day trades, right? Ideally is what I've been doing. But JetBlue down 2% today. I do want to see a bigger down day in the market because I think this would see a pretty big pullback. But I like JetBlue as it gets closer to $14. I'm going to probably buy another one of those calls. I'm buying the 13 calls I think that I'm done with those for now. I have as much as I want for this coming January. And then the $12 calls I'm buying for January 2023. So far out. But, I want to have a decent position on those going into the peak, or not the peak, but going into like the fears, right? Buying into the fear of the variant and viruses and the cases and all that stuff. So I just don't think that the airline demand is going anywhere personally. But that's also, a risk I'm taking, but I'm also giving myself 18 months on some of those calls. If JetBlue recovers to 18, literally in the next 3 months, like I was saying earlier, well, I'm going to cash in massive, right? Massive. If I have a big enough position, right, that'll be 50, 100% gains pretty easily on all my leap calls, right? But if JetBlue goes to my target at some point in the next 18 months, before these expire, which I think it will happen at some point, if that happens, then I'm going to make like 50%, right? Worst case. I'm good with that too. So, rather than tying up, a lot of money into shares for my shares to appreciate 25, 30%, for my average, I'd rather buy the options, pay a little bit more for the in the money plays. And then based on my calculations, I see, good upside. I see like 50% upside across all of the ones that I'm buying. I'm also buying Spirit, whether you like Spirit or not, I'm buying Spirit as well. I like the chart. And then if it happens sooner, it's more upside, but that's at least my plan. So Affirm got rejected so far. Hit that 70, got rejected. Now, hey, it's pulling back. I kind of expected that, right? I kind of see the fake out. But now we'll see if it can hold up and kind of firm itself up, affirm, right? And now bounce off VWAP and push up and break, and then really break 70. That's the idea. It might be like, a kind of a play for the rest of the week. It might not be like it today. Who knows? Yeah, outside of that. And I also have NSPR. This one I sold some. On the spike it had, what was this, on the 21st? It spiked. I was actually traveling that day. They're sitting at a decent amount of cash, right? I think they have more cash than the market cap as of right now. Pretty good deal on the bio. So I'm fine with that. And then also VISL, to also just mention this one as well, they have 50 million in cash. Last thing I think I tweeted it recently. They have 50 million in cash still. The market cap is like 100 mil. Yeah, it's literally exactly 100 mil. So half the market cap is in cash. More product launches at the Olympics. I mean, sports come back. I mean, they're getting their action for sure. So look at BYSI. This is a funny one. So I will tell you the real story of this morning. I actually had a short position. I grabbed some short at 1990. Okay, 1990 thing popped. I was in it at 1990. I covered it for pretty much break even at 1975 here. And then I was like, I don't know. And then I got long at like 21 and then it went up to 30 or 46, right? But ultimately, I might be looking at my initial short at 1990, maybe getting close to going green. So that's insane. Just think about that from, the way beginning of that run. But I wouldn't have held it all the way through there because that would have been down pretty nasty, at least at one point. Okay, SoFi is struggling with a 16 again, but it bounced off VWAP, so that's interesting. Look at this WHLR, right? I could have got more, but it halted up, hit 460. My next short area, my next sell was 473. Didn't get that. And now we're back down to 4. So this could be an area to cover, but I'm still looking for ultimately a little bit more of a unwind play, ideally into the afternoon, especially right now, with the current market right now at small caps. Not much has been holding up, quite throughout the day. So I'm kind of letting it do its thing here. But I still think we can see, 350 is a reasonable target to have in my eyes. We'll see. GoPro. Sorry if I haven't seen this yet, but let's see. GoPro. What is the ticker on this? What is the ticker on GoPro? GRPO. It's at $9, just under $10. Interesting. I would like to see if it holds up around this upper 9s. Got some support down towards $9, but we have the 200 SMA. Last time, this orange line right here, last time we hit it, we bounced pretty nice. Yeah, it dipped slightly below, but it bounced pretty good. So this could be an interesting idea. Can we, yeah, let's see if it holds up around this 975 area as support. But it's, a decent pullback, it looks like, potentially. Here's a downtrend. We can draw some downtrend lines. Rough, not perfect, right? There's a downtrend line. If it breaks back up over 1025, 1050, then it can get interesting to the upside. But it's also not a super fast mover, so you don't have to be like super, you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss it. Like, you're going to probably have time to get in, get out, do what you got to do on this guy. Meanwhile, look at WHLR. It's, as we speak, it's under 4 again. Just dipped under 4, so we'll see. My suspicion is that it drops a little bit more. It's my suspicion on this bad boy. LABD. I would like to see it holding up roughly where it's at right now. Maybe like a couple more another dollar down, and then that's where I would like to see it hold up. Save. The other airline idea that I was talking about was Save. We gotta also look at Robinhood too in a second. It's at 67. Save. What is Save doing? Yeah, Save is down again too today, which is getting close. I mean, I think we could probably get down close to like sub 25 ideally, and that's where I'll buy the down 3%. That's where I'll buy the next leap. Actually, I can start looking at them now though. So I'm going out to January 2020. I have a January of 2022 already, but I want to buy one of these for 2023. So I want to see, I'm looking at like the $20 area, $20 strike price. And I would look to be buying this guy. If I can get it under $10, that would be pretty good. I might even set an order on that. Let me do that right now, actually. Buy a January 2023. I'm just going to buy a 1. And if I can get like $9.95, oh, I would love that. So I'll put that order on. It might not fill today, but I'll leave it there for today in case this does drop more. Or I get filled. So I like that spot. Because then, okay, then at that point, I'm looking at this and saying, okay, so I'm paying $10, right? Where's my target on Save? 35. Which would put me, right, intrinsic value on those calls for a $35 target. Now, this thing hit up to over 40 a couple months ago. This thing gets back to 35, and I have 18 months to do it. Okay, that would be at least 50% on those calls, because the intrinsic value at that point from a $20 strike would be at least $15. Now, if it happens in the next 6 months, you got to still think there's still a year of time on that. You're going to have $15 intrinsic value, and then you're also going to have the time value, which probably, being an extra couple bucks. So more than 50%, but I'd be targeting up towards 35 by 2023. So, 50% play, at least to me, looks pretty good. Yeah, could I get picky and could I wait and maybe this thing comes down sub 25 and sub 24 and I could get those contracts maybe for $9 and save, $100? Yeah, I could. But, you gotta also be in to win, right? If I get picky and I'm like, I'm trying to get the perfect entry, next thing I know, tomorrow there could be some news that there's some, all of a sudden, like, yeah, guys, actually, it's not as bad like as we were kind of, things are looking, right? Cases are going back down and like it's fine. I don't know, like for all we know, like some news like that comes out tomorrow and like all the airlines go up 10%. Like I don't know. So look at that. So we had the failed, I guess, breakout on a firm, right? It's the pressure's on for that 70 level again. Past couple times we've gotten up there. It's like, oh, it's gotten close. So yesterday we got just shy. Today we broke it by a couple cents, and now we've fallen back below. But I trimmed some because I put a sell for some for like 10 shares at that level. So if we do come down below my average, or if this thing comes back down to like 65 area, 63, I'll add those shares back and play it again for the swing. I think the Apple news is pretty big. So if it doesn't just run from here, it could bounce from here, and then whatever, that idea, that strategy is no longer valid. But if it does come back down to the 65 area, I could add those 10 shares back if I want to. So it's always an option. WHLR Wheeler real estate, now it's sub 4 pretty nicely. Look at that, for 388s. This is hitting lows of the day now, or at least lows of the market open. So It's going to be a nice $50+ short, at least for me there. So let's see. I'm looking for the 375, and then I'll see how that holds up. I'm giving it time. It's still literally 30 minutes after the market opens, so I don't really care. I'm giving it time, but I'll let it do its thing. Okay, Robinhood, what is it doing? It pushed up to 85. After that halt, it hit 85. Now it's come back down, but we still kind of have, if you do look at it right now, kind of have something. If it holds here, it's kind of developing kind of higher lows for right now. Just around that VWAP area. I'm not going to mess with it right now because it's just too volatile. And now it's gotten enough attention. It's like everyone's on it. So it's like, okay, I just don't want to mess with it. Look at Moderna broke 400. Oh my gosh. So good thing that, okay, we had initially gotten in at like 395 or just above 395. I put a stop loss just over 400. And then I moved the stop down once it cracked below 390. I moved my stop down to 393. Ended up hitting my stop. But you got a VWAP touch there. So Moderna, as much as I've been only playing it really short, ideally, after it makes a big move. This has been just a massive swing. We talked about this stock, if I recall, right around in here, and we talked about this on a video. And I was like, okay, if you had bought Moderna right now, pandemic time, I know who knows if you were going to buy it, right? But let's say you bought it down there, sub $20, you're now up 2,000%. And we were talking about it like, oh man, you're up 1,300%. That's insane. Now you're up 2,000%. So all the CEOs, all the insiders that are just got tons of shares, I mean, they can more than retire if you want. You want to just quit your job and retire, you can just go get a couple yachts and pull it, that's it. Call it a career after COVID. I mean, if you want to, realistically. But you're seeing a lot of them selling the shares, but for a good reason too. I mean, you're getting a massive, essentially bonus, right? If you have stock, for people who work at a lot of companies, they give you stock, they give you options, whatever. That paid off, right? Let's see. Looking forward to BNGO ER. What is that? BNGO earnings report. BNGO is holding the 200 SMA again right here, but it's testing it. This could be a really good spot, though. I mean, if I'm looking at this right now, if it holds up in the 6 area, it could be a decent trade back up to at least towards $7. I don't know. My only concern with BNGO is that their history hasn't been great in terms of how they deal with their cash. I probably got to get rid of some of these lines because we're never going to see this thing sub $1 again. Well, maybe we might. I don't know. But yeah, I'll get rid of some of those lines. But now we kind of are in a range. Been in this range like 9 down towards like 5. I don't know. I am not super excited for it. I haven't been paying attention to BNGO. I haven't been following it that close, so I don't know. But we will see. Nvax, by the way, this is a decent play off of the Moderna as well. So Moderna pushes up. This is probably, a good play to have on the back burner as well to follow along. So it's held up around VWAP pretty nice, and now it's pushing. We'll see if it can make a new high over the pre-market highs that we saw. So, yeah, you're seeing, right now you're seeing the vaccine plays. Pfizer's got to be killing it, right? Pfizer, it just broke out. PFE, I want Pfizer. No, it's not. Pfizer's down today. Interesting. It had a decent day yesterday, right? Yeah, it had more than a decent day yesterday. It popped pretty big. 44 to like 45, 60, 47. It's pretty good for Pfizer. That's not a big, Here's another thing too. People who I've seen some stuff. People talking about how is Moderna this much and Robinhood this much and this stock is this much, is this price. You have to understand that there's different share structures. So if we go to like finviz.com and you go and look at Pfizer. Let me zoom in. You go look at Pfizer right now. Pfizer, right? They have a 560 billion float. The amount of shares outstanding, 506 or 5.6 billion is how many shares they have, right? So their market cap is 255 billion, right? You go and look at Moderna. We're back. Okay, we're back. Sorry. Hopefully that was fine. Hopefully it didn't cut out too long. But Moderna, right? They have a 400 million share outstanding. Yeah, that's how many shares they have outstanding. Their market cap is 151 billion, right? Compare that to Pfizer. Pfizer is a 250. So you see how Pfizer is almost double, is double the valuation of Moderna. That's why you have to understand, the difference there. People don't understand that. People don't look. They just look at the price and they're like, okay, why is like Pfizer this much, and why is Moderna this much, and why is Apple this much? You can't look at the price like that. You kind of have to look at a little bit deeper than the price. How many shares, market cap, that type of stuff. There's more to it. Unfortunately, right? I wish it was easier, right? I wish it was just, okay, the price is the price and that's it. But there's a little more that you got to dive into sometimes with these stocks. Let's see. Also, I don't want to say that I said it, but I did a couple of weeks. Like, you go back a couple of streams ago, you'll probably see me saying ATOS. Now it's popping today. Remember people were talking about why the hell are you shorting this thing back when it was like 7, 6, 8, I don't know when it was. And I was like, guys, I understand like they are doing some great things and it's awesome, but you have to also know that their revenues, their numbers, they're nothing compared to where it's trading at. And I'm like, this stock easily, and plus their history of dilution all the time, this stock could easily be back sub 5, sub 3, and it did drop sub 3, yesterday, and it was even there today. I don't have the exact quote, but I said it back when it was up here. Like, just be careful. Going into August, going into the time where things generally slow down for small caps, this could be one of those that somebody makes a killing on the short side. So if it gets back up towards like 370 area, $4, I might be interested. I don't know. I have to look a little bit deeper, but I might even be interested in myself. I don't know. But it's something to just make sure you're paying attention to, because sometimes you have to look a little bit deeper than just the, what it seems like on the surface they're doing, because they were, if you look, let's pull it up. Let's pull up ATOS. Okay. They had much higher valuation at one point. They had a market cap, probably 500 million plus, 120 million shares outstanding. Their income, we can dive into some of their numbers here. I'll pull it up. BAM SEC. I mean, this is something that I think people don't do. It's not that hard. But if you go to BAM SEC and let's go to their 2020 results. Actually, let's go to the first quarter of this year, just so we get a better sense. So what do we got? We got cash. They had $137 million in cash, which is quite a bit of cash, but they've done quite a number of offerings as well, which, okay, that's good. So they can, fund research and whatever, which is good. But if you start like scrolling through, expenses, 1.3 million, you start looking at like, what's their net loss, 3.5 million. And you start going back through other years and you kind of see the history of this company. And it's like, oh, okay. Let's go back to 2020. Do we have more info here? It's like where, we don't have much of anything in terms of like revenue, sales. Like, we don't have that. So we're just literally in the research phase. We're in that initial stage where it's like, okay. So the valuation is just going off of speculation. It's hype. It's playing into the potential that they have and curing it, what they're going to do, which is fine. But you have to understand that these things come down when things get a little bit tight, when things get a little bit hot, pressure hits. Companies that don't actually have revenue, these companies don't do well in times when the market kind of takes a little dump. So at least the market hasn't taken a dump, but like when small caps get quiet, right, you have to be careful. So it's just something to make sure you are aware of going forward in the future. Because I know some people who definitely held this thing down when they were, in ATOS, and I was in it. I was in it long from like sub $1 back in the day, right back a couple months ago, made crazy runs. But there are people who are in ATOS up over 8 and who held it down all the way. And they're like, now what do I do? Down over 50%. It's like, well, you didn't have to hold it all the way down, But it is what it is. Sometimes, you can't help people, because I remember people talking. I think people got pissed. I remember when I was talking about shorting that thing. I was like, I'm not shorting because I hate the company. I'm shorting it because I think it's going to go down. Okay. WWR is holding up a little bit. I'm not going to add to that one just yet. This small cap plays, some of my small cap swings are actually really good ads on like massive red days. Like if SPY was down 1% or something, then yeah, you're probably going to see like WWR down 5%. You'll probably see like VISL, NSPR, NVOS down 5%, sometimes down 10. And that's where you buy a good chunk and you just let them do their thing. I'm seeing a bunch of stuff that they're putting out massive price targets on BYSI. So like a lot of these companies, I think HC Wainwright and then now Evercore put out price targets up towards $100 on this thing after the news today. I mean, I get it, but they put those price targets out. Here's the only problem with that stuff is actually, let's extend this trend line because it's going to get there. It's probably going to get close to that level. Is that the book runners for HC Wainwright they do a lot of these offerings. So they have kind of incentive to, pump this baby up in a sense. So we'll see. This is actually a really key area of resistance right here. If it can't break this, it just seems like it's struggling quite a bit on BYSI. But yeah, they have kind of a vesting interest almost, because I would not be surprised if BYSI drops a massive offering. They have one on file. They can do it. I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, this thing got halted up. Did it really get halted that fast? I wasn't even paying attention. So it got halted right there. I guess right when that target came out from Evercore, maybe. Yeah. This could be this. I mean, this is something that if it gets back up towards $30, it could go again. For sure. SoFi, here it is. It's at that 1625. Let's see what happens here at SoFi. It's an interesting spot. Take a look at the 1 hour. Yeah, we have come up to this level a couple times, and we've gotten rejected every time. After this, you probably have a push towards that 17. 17 will be into the next area to watch as resistance, and then 18 gets out of this little range, which would be interesting to see if SoFi gets out of that range this week. Could be, could be fun to watch. Look at this, WHLR. Oh my, what a short! If I only had the size. It's right at the support from pre-market, so this could be a spot to cover some. I mean, I wish I got more, but I'm gonna get rid of these orders because we're no longer going to kind of come up to those levels. Let me see if let me just put I'm just gonna cover it right now. Let's do that because we're at that pre-market support. I can maybe even get back in if I really want to. So we're out, but that was a nice like 60 something bucks on 100 shares. Not even that many shares. So it was not that much. So that's pretty good. I want to get more, but if it comes back up again, I'll add, but I'll let it do its thing for now. We'll see. I was going to look back. BTBT is ripping today. I was looking at this, and then it held up really well. So that was the resistance. This is one that I think was an obvious short as well. Everyone was like, yeah, this is going to go down, right? And now it's not for that exact reason. Meanwhile, look at Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin even up? It's about 30. It's the same spot it's been the past, roughly between the past couple of days. Between 36 and 42. It's 39. So BTBT, interestingly enough, is not doing much. It's just chilling. Well, I'm sorry. It's going crazy. With Bitcoin not doing much, kind of just chilling and roughly where it's been. BTBT is going crazy. So this is showing me that now we're not talking about a squeeze because of Bitcoin. We're talking about a squeeze because everyone was going short, saying this is going to go down. Now it's going up. Robinhood. Example, Robinhood. Same thing. But BTBT is going to be a good short, I think, at some point. I'm just, let it do its thing. I'm not going to touch it now. Borrow rate, let's see, what was it at? If you wanted to short this thing, let's take, I can't even short on Webull. So there you go. But is there options? There is options. You can play options. Let's take a look. If you were to play options out for September, saying, okay, give it a month and a half almost. And let's say I want to buy 10, I buy 50. Oh, this is not bad. Not terrible. If I bought $15 puts on BTBT, right? Going out to September of 21. So give it about September 17th. So about a month and a couple of days. If you bought those, it's going to cost you $4.80 right now, $4.80. Okay, so where's your break even here? So $4.80, it's going to cost you for the $15. So you would need this thing to be $10, roughly, about $10 or less. $10 is your break even, essentially. 10.20. So if you think BTBT is going to go sub 10 in the next month, it's not a terrible idea. Instead of, well, you can't short on Webull, instead of playing the shares short and playing the borrow rates and whatever, yeah, that could actually be really good. You look back, but the other thing, right? This thing could go even higher. As we speak, it could go to like, $15, $20. Why not? Before that falls off, based on kind of like everyone's looking one way. It's obvious short, right? Obvious. Yeah. Obvious short. And here it is. Robinhood, obvious short. Yep. BYSI this morning, obvious short. Nope. Ripped. So you kind of see the same theme, multiple times. This is one of the things literally the past 4 months, not even really even more recent, that learning that side of things has been massive. Just taking shorts myself and just being in the game and seeing it firsthand. Like you see that there's a whole other level of psychology that you don't even realize. That's huge. It's massive. So it's been fun to learn. It's helped me, I would say, a ton, especially with day trades. It helped me a ton. Market everything's red now. NASDAQ went red as well. Save. I'm looking to see if any of my airlines are going to hit my target areas to buy more, but it doesn't look like they are. JetBlue. Let me look at those JetBlue options that I was looking at out here. Where is it? I was looking at the 12s. They're coming down, targeting. Yeah. I want to get more at $4. I'm going to put a buy here for this as well. I did this yesterday and it didn't fill, but I'm going to get more at like $4. If this comes down, 405 maybe. I would want that because I see a target of 18, so I like that spot. Be about 50% at least on those contracts to hit my target, so I'm not worried. There's an art to swinging too. So if you're someone who's going to be a swing trader, right? There really honestly is an art to this whole thing too as well, because you have to have patience and you have to understand the time frame and the horizon of it. Because if you're impatient, it's very difficult to be consistent there. Meanwhile, look at this guy. Look at a firm. So it hit up to over $70 and then it pulled back. Pulled back now to 66. So let's see. Spot. I'm not going to do anything now. I'm going to let it do its thing. I still am bullish on it, but I'm also trim my position down so where it's like I'm not as worried as it. No, I'm not worried, but I have less to worry about, if that makes sense. Okay. Outside of that, anything else moving that we need to look at? BYSI was halted and then it popped and then it kind of tried to break that downtrend. Now it's holding up on VWAP. So here's your area. If you were to trade this thing, you got a pretty clear area risk reward, I think. Your risk, I would risk it down to about $23.50, maybe $23. Give it a little bit of a longer leash. So risk $1 here, but your upside is probably, if this thing pushes back up, your upside's a couple dollars. It's not a terrible idea risk reward wise. Although we are getting into the longer time goes on, the less kind of I would like that. But it's worth an idea. METX is pushing up. This is a cheap stock. I guess we're getting a little bit of action for some of these cheapies. We had yesterday, I forget which one was pushing up, but we had NAKD made a little push. It died. FAMI is a cheap one as well. This one had some news this morning, but then I think got hurt on the news pretty bad. Interesting. METX, I'm surprised that this is pushing on up. I wonder if there's news or if it's a pump. It could be a pump. Let's go back. Nvax, look at this. Nvax hit a new high. Oh, wow, that went nuts. To think I had shares sub 200 this morning. Moderna is around that 400, though. Moderna is getting to it. Looks like it could be a spot to even watch for a downside move here. 405 resistance, and it hasn't got that, shown us resistance there a couple times. So we could be looking at this thing falls back under 400. We could see a quick drop to like 395 pretty fast. Could be decent. It could be an idea as well. But that said, I'm going to wrap things up, guys, because I've been on for over an hour, and we talked about quite a number of things. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. One smart halted up. Another one of those. Now we're kind of seeing random stocks just like halting up. So, I mean, the market's not bad for August. I mean, in terms of the gainers that you're seeing, the opportunities, there's plenty of opportunities. You got to be very selective, though. You can't be in a million stocks and think and hope and pray that your stock goes up. That's just not that's just not what's working right now at all. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll have, more updates. Obviously, we do this every single week, Wednesdays. And then Sunday nights, we do lives going ahead into the week, talking about some of our top stocks to watch. We do that. And then, of course, videos. I have, I don't know if I'm probably not going to post it tomorrow, but I'm probably going to post it next week. Like a full day in the life that I filmed yesterday video. Should be fun. I realize it's like way too long, so I'm going to have to trim this down, but that's what I've been doing in the background. So I appreciate you guys for tuning on in. Hope everyone is doing well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.